This episode is brought to you by Carbon Health, and you guys know Carbon Health. I talk about them all the time. So excited that they're one of our sponsors. Now, they're known for their over 120 locations that handle urgent care and COVID, RSV, flu testing, vaccinations, all that. But what we should also know is how they expanded into primary care services that also include connected health. Connected health is the idea it's not just about our bodies, but it's also about our mind. Carbon Health providers come connected with mental health specialists as well. They expanded their primary care services in 2023. They're now in Massachusetts. It's great. We love them. We're excited to be working with them, continue to work with them. So Carbon Health, excellent urgent care and testing center, but don't sleep on their primary care services. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. This is the spoiler-heavy episode for Mandalorian Season 3, Episode 7. And man, we got into the story. Really dove into it in this episode, so we'll go through that and more. If you're brand new to the channel, you've never been here before, do me a favor, show a little class. Will you hit that subscribe button? You're like, oh, what? I don't have any class if I don't hit subscribe. I didn't say that. Just said you're showing a little if you do. Didn't say you didn't have any class. Just said you're showing a little if you hit that button. Okay, before we get into it, just letting you know, if you're in the Los Angeles area, come check us out, man. We're going to be live, Burbank, California, April 28th. Come see us. We're going to talk Star Wars. We're going to talk DC. We're going to talk Marvel. We're going to talk all of it. And we're going to do some stand-up comedy as well. So join us. Tickets are on sale now. Hope you can join us. All right, let's get into it. Let's get into this episode of The Mandalorian. This is what we've been talking about. This entire episode, this entire season has teased this particular thread, and they deliver on it in this episode. And there's no side missions. It's just focus on what this season is going to be. And it's like a 46-minute episode. Take away the credits and all that stuff too. I think when you see it, it says 52, but take away credits and all that, it runs about 46 minutes, which is significantly longer than most of the stuff that they do. And just that added 10 or 12 minutes that they put on there gives you time to set up things like Bo-Katan Kryze talking about what had happened with her history with Moff Gideon and how that went down, and other Mandalorians who've been living on the planet in secret and feel like they failed Bo, and there's just little moments that they're able to put in there that just add to the significance of all of this. And that's the thing that we've been kind of hoping for, and the things that have overall this season. I feel that there have been moments that have really stood out and have been great, and I think that Katie Sackhoff is crushing it as Bo-Katan, and I think that I like the Khaleesi angle that they're going with her. The show is called The Mandalorian, so yes, we've been following Din. Has he been a bit sidelined? In a certain aspect, I think that he has, but I think that that's only because, again, shorter episodes. You could add certain things inside of the episodes that build towards the development of Din, and he does, and even he has a great conversation with Bo here, and the relationship has been fantastic in this season alone. So they really developed this thing and delivered and executed it well, in my opinion, for episode 7. And I think Rick Famuyiwa, who not only executive produced it, directed both episode 7 and 8. So a lot to talk about here as we start off. The first thing is we're right away, we're on Coruscant. And that alone tells you we're diving into this thing, guys. We're going to dive into it. We're going to talk about the stuff that we had seen before. We knew that Moff Gideon was going to show up. I mean, he had to. But spending a lot of time on Coruscant in the way that they did, and knowing that there's a spy in Katie O'Brien, and she's walking through. This is a very Blade Runner looking type scene, but she comes through, and she's been doing the job for Moff Gideon. We know that. She's been his intel. And she's walking through, and we know that there's something going on. And as we see the probe droid kind of approach her, we're like, all right, this has got to be the conversation, finally, right? Because even in the preview, they show how Moff Gideon never made it to trial. So you're like, all right, well, clearly we're going to find out what the hell happened to this guy. And do we ever? He's a healthy gentleman, and he's running the shop still. And he's like, okay, what's going on? And he's like, well, they had help on Navarro. Pirates didn't make it. He said, you told me that the New Republic was not going to be an issue. He said it wasn't the New Republic, it was the Mandalorians. And he's like, oh, those sons of bitches are still running around, huh? All right, you do your thing. Now let me go do mine. Now, this scene here coming up is one of my favorite scenes in all of The Mandalorian. Not only the politics of it, it's one of those things where what I thought that the Clone Wars animated series did brilliantly was piece together things inside of the prequels that when you watch the prequels with the Clone Wars, it all connects and it doesn't feel like, oh, well, they're just trying to explain it now. It's like it connects and it starts to maneuver into the overall through line of what the entire Star Wars timeline is. And this does that. And it also brings in some great moments for people who had read the books, paid attention to old legend stuff, watched the animated series, and a lot of that. But we'll get into exactly what in just a moment here. But he's making his moves. Moff Gideon is back, and Giancarlo is back, and having Giancarlo back just elevates everything that you do. And then he walks through, and we see all these, the Mandalorian armor and the stuff that he's been working on, and how he was essentially able to get free because he had these soldiers that are like these elevated troopers, and he's building this army, amassing this army. And he walks through, and here's this council of people. And man, oh man, what they're, excuse me, the conversation in general, not only having Hux's father there, and I think it was actually played by Donald Gleason's brother, I believe. Could be wrong, but I think so. But they're having this whole conversation, and Thrawn's mentioned like 4 or 5 times, but then we get my boy Pelion. Now, for people who don't know what Pelion is, Pelion was, I believe, first introduced in the Timothy Zahn novels, and then carried over to the Rebel series, and I'm pretty sure they put him in the new novels. As well. But he's definitely going to be, a strong, loyal figure to him because they keep mentioning him. But what I loved is the fact that Gideon doesn't give a shit about Thrawn. He's like, look, man, let's call it what it is. You keep talking about this guy. He's coming back, the imminent return, blah, 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 blah. I got skills. I got skills, guys. And you're talking about this guy. Where is he? What the hell's he doing? He's nowhere to be found. And then he mentioned that the project that ultimately is going to, it looks like Thrawn is deeply involved with the cloning of bringing back Palpatine. He's loyal to Palpatine, wants to bring back, and that's going to explain the whole somehow Palpatine returned nonsense from Episode 9 and giving us a reason why, because of the project of what Thrawn's going to do. And Gideon's only going to last so long because we know Thrawn is going to be the Thanos of the Filoni-Favreau universe, and they're setting up his return. They mentioned him now in Mandalorian Season 2. They mentioned him 3 or 4 times in this scene alone. So they eventually Gideon puts in enough of say, listen, I need help here. And Hux's brother, or father, well, Donald Gleason's brother, I believe, playing Hux's father. And Hux's father has a very strong role in and I can't remember. It might be the Aftermath books. I can't remember, but I think it's the third book in the Aftermath by Chuck Wendig, I think. But either way, he's really involved in the formation of the First Order. So seeing him was interesting. But Moff Gideon's like, look, guys, the Mandalorians are making a move. I need help. And they're like, all right, if you want TIE fighters, you want all this stuff, go do it. Take over Mandalore. You got the support. But it's just that whole scene just established so much. And then we see Navarro, and at first I wasn't exactly sure what was going on. And as the fleet's coming in here, I'm like, oh, there you go. It's everybody. It's the whole damn crew. Bo-Katan is leading everyone back. And they basically, the droid's like, hey, what's going on here? They're attacking? Like, no. Everybody, take it easy. This is a big ship. This is a big moment. And I'm going to play politics. I'm going to give him some whiskey. And the armorer was the one who kind of put this in motion, said, walk both ways, Bo-Katan, put it together, and we get the formation of it. And we get Bo-Katan and Din, and they don't know how this is necessarily going to go down. And they unite the clans. They put it all together. And I loved this again, it's just the establishment of, okay, we've been talking about taking back Mandalore. Let's take it back. And they're like, we gotta get the hell out of Dodge. So we have both sides of the crew. And then there's this moment here where he gives him the whiskey, whatever it is. And he's like, I got something else for you. And now he knows, okay, IG-11, here we go. He's going to be back. They fixed him. I liked the spin. Because they're like, well, what are we going to do with Grogu? He's going to be bouncing around doing the Force and throwing people around when we get into these battles. What are we going to do with him? They're like, no, put him in the IG-11. And he can start to move it around like a car. Fine. It doesn't cheapen IG-11's loss of life when he took off. It doesn't. It starts to turn into, if he turned it into Daniel Bryant from WWF or WWE rather, where he's going yes, 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 and they played the comedy into it, but it wasn't too overbearing. They're like, okay, this and for anybody who has kids, this really, really rang true. Really rang true. Because you got this whole thing where first of all, the little Babu Frick character, whatever the species is, he's telling bad baby, and he jumps into the thing, and it's like this is like a kid getting a new toy, going, all right, I don't know if he's ready for this. And he takes out in this part, man, this reminded me of just being with my kids in the market. And it's like, don't touch that. And of course they're going to touch that. Poor bastard alien gets the freaking fruit juice all over his head, and he's got to keep paying for a bunch of nonsense. And that's what happens. So being at the market, this rang true to me. And here we go. We got the this meeting that they have with Bo-Katan, and she takes, and I loved this moment, like Katie. It's a very Daenerys Targaryen moment. She's got to unite everybody together, and she's got to put together the speech, and she's got to say, hey, listen, we're going to Mandalore. Who's stepping up? And of course, Casca Reeves goes, I'm in. And then everybody starts going, I'm in. Well, Din's the first one. He's like, I'm in. And everybody's in. Everybody's moving. And so they finally, they decide they're going to not attack, but take over their planet. They make their way through. And man, oh man, this is real. Again, I love this moment where all the Mandalorians are on the ship and people who have been there before. Like, you get the sect of the Din's people who just want to be part of this planet so much and know the history and they've been on that moon for so long. They just want their planet back. They want to live in that culture. They want to do all that. And like, we've heard about this. We've heard all that. And the Mandalorians, like, we were there. And they're all shaking their heads and they land on the planet, like, getting ready to come back. And it was just like, okay, again, what we've been talking about for so long. The crew just wanting to get their homeland back. And the visuals in this episode were just out of control. Like, whee! And they make their way down there, and you saw this is one of the few shots that you saw in the preview, in the trailer. Most of the footage was from like episodes 1 and 2, but they showed them jumping down, and you thought maybe it was Navarro, or maybe there was a couple shots from Navarro, but I thought there was a shot from there as well. But Paz Vizsla, who obviously breaks your heart in this episode. But he's the first one. He's got that Jesse Ventura Predator gun. Yeah, it sounded like that. And then they're doing a breakdown and a lockdown of the planet itself. And this is the first time a lot of them are seeing it. So the armor coming in, and then all of this stuff that they're doing, just the looking at the terrain, figuring out their strategy, and they took their time. They took their time. And that is what I'm talking about. Take your time, build. And that's exactly what they did here. They built. And as we start to move through, and then we get what I also liked was, I thought we were going to get a predictable moment here of, okay, well, we know there's a spy, and we know that these Mandalorians who they're going to find on this pirate ship, they're clearly working for Moff Gideon, and they're gonna betray him. And there's an ambush, but it has nothing to do with these people. These people are legit. They've just been hiding in the shadows. And they're like, look, we've been out of this thing for a bit. You have our blasters. We're sorry, but if we can fight for you, we'd love to." And she's like, "Yeah, you're in." And then she has this kind of breakdown moment as well too, where she's saying, "Look, I made a move, and I thought that I was going to save our people because Gideon told me that he's gonna let everybody live, and the fucker lied to me." So, she's been broken down about it, and I love this moment between Din and Bo up top, where he's like, "Look, I don't give a crap about the Darksaber. Clearly, I gave it to you, and it's not something I ever wanted, and it's not something my people really follow. We follow leadership, we follow character, we follow heart, and you got all of that stuff. So lead us. You've got my blaster. You've got us." And it's something that she needed to hear, and I think that it's incredible. Like, it's a good move in the armor. Same thing with the armor. And the armor now, we're gonna, like the armor said, not all these people are gonna be able to make it, and they're on the same page with it. And you're seeing Bo's leadership, where she knows how she's got to manage both of them, and she's got and they lay out this whole entire structure. And I love this whole thing with again, these visuals are just out of control. I loved it. Now, I think that the volume, though, I think they relied a little heavy on the volume in this one. I hope that they get to some real locations once season 4 hits. But I'm digging a lot of these visuals, and we get to this. The leaf blower is really coming in heavy today. But what are you gonna do? And then but still, this. Don't forget who the Mandalorians are, and especially the 2 different sections that are gonna have to be on the same page and test each other out and say, whose chess piece is bigger, mine or yours? And they go at it. They're fighting. And what I also loved about it was the conversation, again, through dialogue, of when Bo-Katan goes, "Hey, listen, we've been an unbeatable force for a long time. Not us. It's the fact that we can't get along." And it's very similar to like the Sith logic. We just can't, we're our own worst enemy, and we take each other out. And this starts to become that. They're like, "No, nobody can really get involved. Neither side can get involved." Well, Grogu decided he's not on any side. And Grogu's like, "Hey, cut it out. No. And Grogu makes it happen. She's like, "Oh, good job." He's like, "I didn't teach her that. You teaching that out." Mando's like, "I would have probably beaten the piss out of the both of them." But we get into now, again, another moment that I was really nervous about here was they're about to make it their way into the caves, and then the big beast comes. I'm like, here we go. We just set up this whole thing, and now we're going to fight a beast for 20 minutes. And they don't fight the beast for 20 minutes. They say, "We ain't fighting this beast. We're getting the hell out of here." They just basically are pushed into the caves now, and they have this big beast. They can't fight this thing, and they don't try to fight it. They get the hell out of Dodge, and they make it into the caves. They're walking through, and then all hell breaks loose. Because as they're going through, and they have this whole scene, right, he's coming in heavy today. He's coming in heavy. What did he bring with him? He brought in Paz Vizsla's blaster. Holy shit. Anyway. And then you get that fight, and I love that there was no turncoat, there was no spy. It was just, nope, it's an ambush. We've been waiting for you down here. We knew you were coming in. And I love this moment where he's like, "I'm getting the hell out of here." And Vizsla's like, "I'll cover you. Move." And he zips out, and he's going to go get the armor and everybody too. And from what it seems like, there'll probably be some Boba Fett stuff in the finale as well. But there's just this fight where we're pinned in here. What are we going to do? And then once they start like moving, and they start pushing them back, I was like, oh, they're taking these guys out a little easy. Yeah, Vizsla. There you go again. Power gun. Oh my god. That's ridiculous. Well, there's nothing I can do about it, guys. But once this happens and they're running through this portion, I'm like, okay, this is a setup. And clear as hell it's a setup. And they see all the TIE fighters. And I'll tell you, they capture Mando because he's the one that's caught out in all of it. And I loved this scene because he's taking out as many as he can, but then Giancarlo walking in with the armor and just rocking the armor. absolutely rocking the armor. Look at him. And he takes it off and he's like, look, you guys had your run. Nice run, Bo. But we're going to establish Mandalore now. The purge is finally going to be complete. So get lost. And they take Din away, and I assume that's going to be the mission to try to get him back in the last episode. But they capture Din. They take off. And they're like, oh, now just kill all of them. Give me the saber. And she's like, no, I'm just going to cut something into the wall. And this is where the most devastating part of the whole thing comes, because Paz Vizsla has been such a massive part of this series. And she's like, let's go. It reminded me of like Triple R. If you've seen Triple R, there's a moment that's similar to this. And it had that kind of emotion, right? And we've been with Paz for so long. And it was a bummer that Din doesn't get to see him kind of go out as well, too. But he knows what he's got to do. He's like, everybody get the hell out of here. I'm going to do my thing. And he wrecks shop, by the way. He absolutely wrecks shop. And he takes that. And you're like, he's getting shot to hell. And my favorite shot of the whole thing, because Bo's like, come on, let's go. And he's like, no, I got it. This is the way. And he's firing out his weapon. I love this shot. I love this shot where he's, come on. It's like the gun. Come on. This is the worst it's ever been. This is the worst it's ever been. He's like, you might as well just put the leaf blower in. Yeah, put it in the garage. Holy shit, man. I mean, that's done on purpose at this point. Anyway, so the weapon's like just completely annihilated and running out of gas. And he's hand-to-hand combat. He's wrecking people, and you're like, oh, he did it. He made it out. Now, you guys tell me in the comment section, this is like the evolution. This is like the first time we see like the Snoke guards, right? Because that's how they read to me. And what I also loved is he didn't stand a chance. He had absolutely no chance. They just straight up murdered him. He tried to fight. They just, you're done. You took everybody else out, but we're done with you now. And they just wreck his life, literally. Stab him right in the head. He hits the deck, and then it's just this shot of them walking like, okay, our job is done. And we got ourselves a hell of an episode. At least I thought so. What do you guys think? I think it sets it up really nice. Again, please, now that you've done a 47-minute episode or whatever it was, do not go back to a 35, 36-minute episode for the finale. Please hit a 50-minute or an hour and close this out, because we're probably not going to get another season of Mandalorian for like another year and a half or whatever it is as we get into Ahsoka and Skeleton Crew and all that. Yeah, I think that it's just once again, it's going to have to be, I love the idea of Bo-Katan being the one who's uniting the clans in general, and then having to now, the trauma of the idea that once again, every time she tries to reestablish, and you get this cancer that's Moff Gideon. And Gideon certainly has his own plans and wants to establish dominance and take over and doing his own things, and he wants to be the guy. He's not going to be the guy, we know that, because Thrawn's going to be the guy. But the idea of this transfer of leadership. But what do you guys think? Did you like it? Did you not like it? Let me know in the comments. Did you think that they finally, found their place and their footing inside of this one? Please let me know. I got to hear your thoughts. So if you're brand new to the channel, do me a favor, hit that button, show a little. Once again, show a little class. I'm not telling you don't have class if you don't. I'm telling you showing a little if you do. Thank you guys for joining us. Once again, if you're able to make it to the live show on April 28th, please do it. Link is in the description. And we'll be back for a Sith Council later on today with myself, Mike Kalinowski, and Steph Sabra. So thanks for joining us here today, Mandalorian. Spoiler thoughts. Appreciate you. And of course, right as I stop, the leaf blower does too.